Welcome to my show. I'm Mo.
Oh, Meares.
The prediction show is here, and guess what? Every year since 2008, you or I have predicted at least one participant in the Super Bowl.
I think that's pretty solid track.
If you're not betting, this is the greatest prediction show ever.
Yes.
All right, we're going to start out with the NFC and AFC division winners.
Exactly.
And that gets tedious when you go through each one because I'm going to have to think of who's in each division before I make a pick.
You will.
Let's start with the NFC East, our home division.
Yeah, I got the Redskins in this. I think RG3 comes back. I think he's going to have a good season. I like their defense. It's solid. And I just think it's a wide open division. And I think the Redskins repeat.
I think it's harder to pop a zit than it's going to be to pop his name. So, Giants offseason last year, I got the Giants. I hate the Giants, and I refuse to acknowledge that they're any good. But out of these four bad teams, with RG3 going down again, I have to pick the Giants.
Nice.
Let's jump to the South. Pretty wide open division. I mean, Atlanta probably the favorite.
Yeah, you know what? This one was tough for me because with Sean Payton coming back and the Saints going 7-9 last year, I think they're gonna compete this year. And then Tampa Bay's up and coming, but I'm gonna go with Atlanta because they added Steven Jackson. I think they're still solid. I think Matt Ryan is still solid in the regular season, so I'll take Atlanta.
I like Matt Ryan signed a huge contract. His bitch face doesn't support that. He's going to have so much pressure on him. Watch the failure that he's going to be this year. It's not going to be good. I like Josh Freeman in the fact that everybody says he's not a superstar, and I think he's got superstar intangibles. And I like my Doug Martin theory of not being on the sophomore jinx because the sophomore jinx was the second half of last year. I got Tampa Bay taking this division.
Wow.
Let's move to the West, where everybody thinks Seattle and San Francisco is playing the next week after last year.
I think they're without a doubt the class of the division. Both solid defenses. I mean, if you added the front seven for San Francisco with the defensive backfield, like the DBs and the corners of Seattle, that defense, you wouldn't even be able to score on it. So I like this division. I think it's going to be a tight race, but I think Seattle pulls it out this year and they win the division.
I think Seattle is... You got two quarterbacks basically going through the sophomore jinx that I talk about, where it's the second year. Kaepernick, I show me. It's one of those years, show me. They came off a Super Bowl loss. Everybody thinks they're going to be the class of the AFC. Everybody's got San Francisco and Denver in the Super Bowl. I love when everybody has everything. You know what I got? I got Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald winning this division because, you know what? I have to. Because when you want to win the long shot, take the long shot. When you want to win the big money, that's what happens.
That's true.
When you come back and look at this video and Arizona is 11-5 and won the division, who's the genius?
Yeah.
And when they're 5-11 and they haven't, nobody comes back and watches. It's awesome. One more division, we got the North.
Yes. Another division that I think is pretty wide open, although some people think Green Bay is the class. I think Green Bay is going to struggle this year because they lost Greg Jennings. Jordy Nelson's hurt. He's always hurt. So they have some wide receiver issues. They have a running back issue. Their defense, they lost Charles Woodson. I don't know. I got a lot of question marks. I think this is Jay Cutler's year. I think he is going to chuck the ball to Brandon Marshall. I like the running back situation. I like their defense. I think they got younger with the loss of Urlacher. And I think Chicago wins the division.
I got Green Bay. I got Green Bay doing big things this year. You've said Greg Jennings in this show and our fantasy show, and I forgot he was still in the league. I don't know when this guy became relevant, but apparently you got him on some sort of barometer that he makes a difference in the fucking league.
He does. I like him.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of people in the league that make a difference before him. But Minnesota, I got nothing. Jay Cutler's a bitch face, and what's the other team? Yeah, there you go. All right, so I got Green Bay running away with this division. That leaves us with our wild cards.
Does.
I got one in Seattle because you can't dismiss the fact that their defense is that good. And you got a sophomore effect with their quarterback. But I think they're going to be good enough. I mean, obviously, this is all based on Arizona winning the division.
I got one at San Francisco, so along with the same theory. I figure they're going to be close. I think they're both going to be 12-4, 11-5, and the other one's going to get in.
My other one is San Francisco because I'm going to hedge my bets on my Arizona pick. So I figure out of the 3, I'm going to get one in the playoffs, unless all of a sudden the Los Angeles Rams or wherever they are now, St. Louis, unless they're in.
And my last one, after just bashing Green Bay in the division, I think they are the strongest 6th team in the NFC. So I think they will make the playoffs also.
All right. Now on to the AFC. Let's start with the East. Who you got winning that division?
There's nobody in the division other than the Patriots, and I think you're going to win more than 4 games. So I'm going to take the Patriots.
Well, that's a little rough. I mean, I'll take the Patriots as well because I'm not a complete idiot, but I think you'll be surprised with my wild card picks. Let's move to the South.
Texans and Colts, they battled last year. I just don't think, going with your theory with Andrew Luck and the sophomore slump, I'm going to go with the Texans this year. I think they're going to pull it out again.
The Colts last year had a whole thing with Bruce Arians taking over for the guy
Yeah.
with the cancer, and Arians is in Arizona now, which is a big part of my pick. I didn't mention that earlier.
Gotcha.
I don't have them beating out the Texans. I think Matt Schwab's going to be it's a make or break year for him. I think that'll make it good enough for them to win that division. Let's move on to the West.
Yeah, so the West I think it's going to be competitive, but I think the Broncos win by at least a game or 2. They're just going to be too good to deal with. The Chiefs might be better with Andy Reid, but they're not going to compete. So.
You kind of got 3 startups out there. You got San Diego starting over. You got Kansas City starting over. You got Oakland starting over with a new quarterback.
Yeah.
You got a end of the career deal going with Peyton Manning, and he is good in the regular season. He's good enough, I think, to go 12-4, 13-3. I think they run away with this one.
Yep.
Last division is the North.
Yeah, this to me is going to be one of the tightest divisions. You got the Bengals, the Steelers, and the Ravens, and I think the Bengals are probably the best team right now. I know I've been watching Hard Knocks, so I might be a little. I might have a little bit of what do you call it?
I watched Hard Knocks last year, and I thought the Dolphins were going to win the Super Bowl. When you watch the everyday operations of a team, you believe. It means that they have good camps, but at the end of the day, the Dolphins didn't do anything.
Yeah, they got AJ Green, they got Andy Dalton. Their defense is just stellar. They've been running people over this preseason. I like this team. I think they're going to go far, as you'll see as we go further into my predictions. So give me the Bengals.
Well, I watched the Ravens game the other night for the first drive, and they were the Super Bowl champions. They drove right down the field and made it 7-0. I went and watched something, I don't know what I was watching, a NASCAR rerun or something. I came back a half hour later. Joe Flacco's still in the game. It's 28-7, and they drove right down the field to make it 28-10. So I saw 2 things. I didn't see them miss a pass. They were awesome, but I don't know what happened in between. I'm gonna go with them. I picked them to win the Super Bowl last year. They won the Super Bowl last year. I'm not just gonna diss them because, they lost like 86 guys.
Nice.
So we move on to the wild cards.
Correct. I've got 2 wild card teams. Steelers.
We all do. We all do.
Yeah, that's a good point. Steelers coming out of the North. I don't think the Ravens are gonna make the playoffs. So we're way against each other there. I think the Steelers are reincarnated this year and come back and play better, and they'll make the playoffs. And then, even though I said that Luck's going to have the slump, I think that the Colts actually will take that last wild card spot.
I have the Raiders this year.
Wow!
Despite the fact they're starting over, you finally have a guy that's coming in. I mean, if Matt Flynn isn't bitter at this point.
That's true.
I mean, he gets a huge contract to go somewhere and then just gets run over.
Yes.
By a rookie that's about like 6 inches shorter than him. And then the rookie comes out and makes the playoffs when nobody thought they were going to make the playoffs, and then won a playoff game.
Yep.
He's never had a chance to take the field outside of one game where he threw for like 863 yards. I think the guy's going to be bitter. I think at some point Oakland's got to do something
You would think.
to make a difference.
You would think.
And the other team's obvious, and I don't know how you missed it. It's the Bills. E.J. Manuel is the second coming of Randall Cunningham.
That's not
He made a couple playoffs. Let's move on to the conference championship games. Who do you have squaring off in the NFC championship game for the right to go to cold-ass New Jersey for the Super Bowl? That's right, it's in Giant Stadium.
Yes. I have a divisional showdown for my NFC championship game. Seattle versus San Francisco. San Francisco trying to go for their second consecutive Super Bowl. So that's what I got.
All right, well, I got the Battle of the Bays.
Nice.
I got Green Bay playing Tampa Bay.
Wow. I don't think many
crazy.
people are going to have that.
Call me crazy. I got it in Tampa Bay. I know. I was just gonna do a temperature thing. But
Nice.
No, I got Green Bay and Tampa Bay.
Sweet.
I think Tampa Bay is gonna have a breakout year. And you know what? I was so dead on last year when I said Carolina was going to as well. I had Carolina playing Baltimore in the Super Bowl last year. They won 3 games. AFC Championship game. Who you got?
I've got the Broncos, which I'm sure most people have.
I do too.
I think they're going to go through. I think this is going to be his year. It might be his swan song. I think this might be it if he goes as far as I say he's going to go. Playing the Bengals again, my surprise team. Thank you, Hard Knocks.
Yes. Hard Knocks will do that. I got New England playing Denver.
Nice.
It's not exciting, but you know what's funny is Brady versus Manning. We got ripped off from that last year because a safety fell down.
Yes, because he didn't do his job.
I'm gonna do that matchup in the AFC.
Nice.
That leads us to the winners of the conference championship game going to the Super Bowl, and the winner of the Super Bowl. Take them both.
Yeah, and you better pay attention because one of us has correctly picked one of these participants every year.
Participants,
not winners. Just participants. I've got Seattle upsetting San Francisco. I think it'll be an upset in the NFC Championship game, going off to face the Broncos in the Super Bowl. Peyton Manning's swan song. He wins the Super Bowl. He then gets on a Bronco, rides off into the sunset, ends his career, becomes an ESPN analyst.
Whatever. I got Green Bay playing New England because I just want to be boring for the first time in the entire show. I got Green Bay beating New England because I think Tom Brady's legacy is going to be winning the first 3, losing the last 3.
Nice.
I think he's a choke artist at this point in the big games, and I think he got lucky in the beginning. I think as soon as he became favored, he became the choke artist. I'd love to see Aaron Rodgers get a second one so that he can kind of like put the people that, somewhat put him behind other people to rest. The Peyton Mannings of the world can ride off in a Bronco in a different direction and just retire, and that's how we're going to have it. So that's probably a lot of what's not going to happen.
Yes.
We just spent 8 minutes on a YouTube video telling you what we think is going to happen. Take it to Vegas if you want to lose some money, or pick Arizona to win the West.
Nice.